Hello everybody, I am ThatOneComicGuy, and today we're looking at star power. This story is very much a vanilla hero's journey. We see the moment she becomes the chosen one, we see the main character's bumps and falls as she struggles with her new power, and overall we have a lovely story of hope, love before violence, knowledge as the greatest treasure. And honestly, it's such a heartfelt story. I sometimes have a hard time digging into it for any negatives, just because of the message it's trying to deliver. But anyways, our story opens up with a young astronomer named Danica Maris. This is a far distant future where 1,000 worlds have banded together in a galactic federation, as it were, and are doing their best just to explore, study, and overall inhabit the universe. Because, as I say very much in a later chapter, we're all in this together. Danica is very much becoming bored with her newfound duties aboard the Sanctuary Space Station 6. And honestly, I suppose she has very much right to be. She feels that her superior is making what she loves about stars boring. It's feeling more like work as opposed to the joys of observing stars. But then we have a peculiar incident where a benign star that is unremarkable in every way becomes the most remarkable thing, the star power. And it chooses Danica, and we see her clad in pure white, and now she has silver hair, and it's quite honestly just as it is, a chosen one scene. I will say the star power, or as it's later named, Mitch, I do like this interpretation of the power that the chosen one is granted. It opens up feeling very much like every other chosen one power, all-knowing, granting her the answers. But as the chapters unfold, we realize there's something missing from its databanks, as it were. It has no knowledge of certain things and is just as confused as the one that has been chosen. It's really refreshing to see an omnipotent power suddenly brought down into the same category as the chosen one in this story, Danica. The power itself is going on its own journey along with the main character. Though, honestly, in my personal opinion, I like more of the side characters, if a little more than Danica herself, my favorite being the chief of the Sanctuary Space Station. There are so few scenes that really dig into his backstory, which I understand. The story's focusing mostly on Danica, but the comic gives you enough that you can get the characters, you can enjoy them, even if they don't have as much screen time as you would like. Screen time, quote unquote. And another thing of my favorite that I really adore would have to be the lore pages that are also sprinkled out. It explaining various different races of the Millennium Federation, all the different alien species, some of which are humanoid, some of which are plant-based. It's all so interesting. I really, really adore it. There's even some lore pages that are just a story, which is told in the way of almost passed down through tradition. It's quite enjoyable. One of my favorite portions of the entire comic, honestly. If I had to pick some strengths for this comic, it does a hero's journey well. It has the power to choose its warrior, protector. The protector, the main character, goes through the flow of becoming a hero and everything that entails, the struggles of having to deal with these new responsibilities of all this power. And it really goes to show, like I said, you don't need to do anything complicated with the hero's journey sometimes. Sometimes the hero's journey itself can just be that. As for weaknesses of this comic, I feel like Danica's love interest throughout the comic is a little predictable. She ends up with one of the earlier antagonists who slowly becomes, well, he's slowly rehabilitated, I guess, though he was never evil to begin with. But when you're reading this, it's kind of easy to tell what's coming between them, and that's honestly a big pet peeve of mine. But overall, it's not executed badly. I just wish more could have been done with it. Another thing is that some of the story threads feel neglected. There's a couple that I'll touch on with my closing thoughts. This is a comic that has ended rather recently, which means it's a perfect opportunity to pick it up, read all of it, and get into the story itself. It's probably, I'd say, a minimum 28 chapters in all, give or take a bit of filler, including the lower pages and some of the side stories, if you can call them that. But overall, I would say it's a mid-length comic. It's not terribly long to where it feels intimidating, but it's also not short enough to where you feel like it was rushed, because it is most certainly not rushed. Each chapter does feel like it carries weight, and that weight is very palatable, I suppose, is a good word. You feel the story progressing and increasing in tension as more and more things escalate and then de-escalate and then re-escalate. It is a true to form, lovely action sci-fi story, though it is sad to see a story you've loved end, as all stories eventually have to do. If I had to pick, I would say one of my biggest sadnesses, I suppose you could call them, for this story is that a couple of the plot threads do feel like they didn't get fleshed out. Danica has a rocky relationship with her mother, which we never get to really see. We never get to see any kind of interaction or even exposition as to why she has this relationship with her mother. And there is one page that sort of hints at the relationship that Danica has with her mother, but it doesn't give much. And it would have been so interesting to watch that and just have that sort of closure. It would have just been really good to see that get tied off. Another one is one of the antagonists, the earliest big antagonist is Countess Nuraknor, who is threatening to snuff out the star power completely. And we see her going through the process of being psychologically evaluated and welcomed into the Millennium Federation eventually. I wish we could have seen more of that. I understand why they left it off. It's supposed to be ambiguous. It's supposed to leave you wondering if this die-hard villain, this tyrant, ever really lets go of her past so she can become kind. It's very understandable why they left her sort of ambiguous like that. It's so you can jump to your own conclusions, so you can wonder and just always ask the question, will she ever truly integrate, be let loose into society? Will she ever live? I wish we could have seen that. We unfortunately won't. because, as I said, the story has reached its ending. The ending, well, the ending to me feels a little early, a little soon. I do like how it ended. The story of Star Power ended on a hopeful note, which I think we all need in this crazy time where we all look to the future and we all hope for the best and see where this journey on this small little blue marble in the black void of space takes us. And honestly, I think that sums up what Star Power is. It's a journey into the unknown that we face every day. And it's a message we can all honestly take a lot from. Stay hopeful, love each other, even in the harshest of times. Always take knowledge as your greatest treasure, and never be afraid to do what's right and stand up for what you believe in. Yeah, I think that's what this story really sums up the best. And like I said, read it. It's ended already. Catch up. Gush over it. Pick and find your nitpicks. What every comic reader loves to do, after all. And, as always, I hope you enjoy as much as I do. Until next time. Thanks so much for watching my first video. If you like what I do, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as it really helps the algorithm tell other people that my videos are worth watching. If you like the comic, please be sure to check out the creator's stuff in the link in the description, as well as the artist's Patreon in the link in the description. Be forewarned, the artist does, in fact, post some NSFW content, so just putting that out there. If you like what I do and want to support me, I also have a Patreon linked in the description, but don't feel like you need to. Anyways, ta-ta!